Welcome to the sideshow. This is the build that doesn't end. It just goes on and on, my friends. I started building it, not knowing what it was, and I'll just keep building it forever just because this is the build that doesn't end. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to. Let's take another look at the clown car.
Okay, we're back to the clown car again. I think I've solved most of the issues before we start. We already know the two-headed tortoise is complete, and I'm really happy with it. I've still got a couple elephants to paint up, but that's for the entire Glue Bomber circus. Same with the dragon. I finally got the holes filled in the bottom here, completed. I need to do some sanding and then touching up a little bit, and then I will have my dragon up and walking, so that should be pretty cool. And he does stand on his own. Not sure if he's still going to stand on his own once I get those front arms on, because that's just a little bit more weight and it might be just the right amount for tipping him over. We will find that out once we get his arms on. As for the dragon tamer, she's coming along. I definitely got to do a little more work on her face and everything before I'm ready to get her head all glued in place and everything. And I'm going to have streaks of orange and green in her hair. If that works out, I'm going to go ahead and do that too. So we'll get the hair kind of matching her outfit. It'll be, on her side of her head like that. So with some orange and green streaks in the whole red hair. And then I get her arms on and get her in place. So that'll work out pretty soon. And now let's talk about the clown car. I am going to end up going with a roof that I cut out. I basically used the old roof as a template, because what I first did was I cut a very thin piece of plastic that I was just going to use to cover the roof. And it was doing fine until it finally all settled and everything. And as you can tell here, the thin piece of plastic that I covered it with ended up bubbling up, and so that just didn't work either. So I basically ended up giving up on the roof. You can see right there what it is. But I found some other green plastic in my stash that was about a 1/2 millimeter thick, which is a little thinner than the original roof, but much thinner than both pieces together. I cut it out, shaped it as best I could, and it does look like it will fit. My fear now is that when I glue that down, that it might also bubble. I'm praying that it doesn't, so I will have to use the glue very sparingly, but I will definitely get the roof glued on there. So that should work. And then for the tires, I was thinking of using the original Big and Littles that came with it, but they really put the body at too much of a cant, and I just didn't like that. So I found some other little tires that I'm going to use, and those are these here. They're those low profile ones, the skinny ones that you see those, and they're about the same size front and back, but they are still Big and Littles. But as you can see here, much smaller than the slicks that came with the old Tom Daniel kits, and also much smaller, well, about the same size as the front tire. But really what you're seeing though is a much wider tire. So the notice how much wider that little tire is there. It's as wide as the slick there, and these back tires will even be wider than the slicks were. So that's going to be pretty cool. That meant that I needed to cut down the length of the back axle, so I did that. And then I will get the tires glued on. But the other cool thing is they have these hubcaps that I can use over them. And I'm going to put those in there so that you have more green on the vehicle. So there'll be a lot more green and orange on the vehicle. And I just kind of like the way those look. That's going to be kind of really cool looking once that's all done. So that's what I've done. These were hollowed out, so I just put a piece of plastic in the back, painted it gold, and I'll stick them on there. And then for the glue bomber problem on the back here, I've decided what I'm going to do is I've cut some plastic and added some little supports to the old seat. And instead of having the seat up at the top there, I'm just going to lower the seat down here, which will cover the splotch of glue. So we'll have the seat hanging down here. And I think that'll work. That's my plan. I'm going to line it up right with the ridge on the body, and I will have the other clown seat on the back after all, instead of the side. So I think that'll look pretty good. Sticking on the back right there, I will probably paint this in copper to match the rest of the frame, and then I'm going to actually put a towing pintle going across here, because this is going to actually be pulling a small cart. So that's the plan. And then once I get that done, well, I'll slap it all together and we'll get some pictures. The other thing I got to do is right up here, I got to figure out how I'm going to fix the whatever you want to call it, right across the top there. So I've got to close that up. And then I've got a really cool radiator cap that I'm going to be putting on there, and I will show that to you in a little bit. Right now, let's try and get this thing glued together, and hopefully it'll all work out. Okay, so I got the back part of the seat painted copper. I know it's not perfect. The area you're not going to see, I'm not too concerned about. I think what I'm going to try and do is try some Testors orange and paint the bottom of the seat with a Testors orange, the enamel. That's probably the color that was used on this a long time ago. And hopefully that will match a little bit better, because I will need to be doing a little touching up, but not too much, I'm hoping. As you can see, I've decided I got to do some trimming around the doors and everything. I'm doing that pretty much freehand. It looks nastier on the right now on the camera than it does in person. That's typical, I think. But I'm going to have green trim around the door. And if you notice, it's kind of weird because you have two different thicknesses with the trim going back around and then around the door. And also, if you notice, there is no cut here for the suicide door. There should be a line going right through there. I think what I'm going to do is just draw that with a black marker rather than try and actually sit here and saw through this, because I'm so far along in the build. If I would have not had anything built yet, I might have actually taken an X-Acto knife and cut a line through there. But I'm just going to do it with a black marker, and hopefully that'll do. The horizontal portions, the heavier lines, I'm going to probably end up going over those in copper. I'm actually just freehand painting this without masking or anything. So, and this is the little brush I'm using. I don't know what size it is or anything, but that's with just silver, and this is the first coat of the green. I'll probably have to put 2 coats of green on there. So really going over this thing 3 times with a little brush, carefully doing it. But when a little bit gets off onto the side, because I'm using acrylic over a very heavy enamel, what I do is I just wet the tip of a toothpick and scrape off the little bit of acrylic that came over there, and it comes off fairly easily. So as long as it isn't dried completely, it's easy enough to get off. So that's what we're doing with the trim. So that'll add a little more green to this kit, as well as the lid. So once we get the lid up there, that'll be nice. Like I said, the horizontal portion here, that'll be copper. This main line here going across here, that is also going to be copper, along with the green. So I think that'll add enough green so that you'll have the orange and green theme going with these circus cars. Not everything's going to be orange and green, but a couple things are going to be orange and green. So that's where we're at right now. And the other thought I have, and I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, is I was thinking a long time ago of putting a golden elephant on the roof. And I just don't know that if that's a little too much or a little too little. But we'll see. Probably not at this point, but that's something that, well, I'll see what the feedback on the video says about putting an elephant on the roof. You know, like it would have been like a carved wooden elephant that's been painted gold up on the roof, just to keep with the theme. If I had a smaller tortoise, I'd make a smaller two-headed tortoise, but they don't come that size. So that's where I'm at right now. So we'll see how this is going.
The wheels on the clown car go round and round, round and round, round and round.
So this was my first idea for the tires, which were the standard wheels that you get with just about any of the Tom Daniel show cars, with the small Goodyears in front and then the big slicks in the back. And you can see how much of a cant you have on this little clown car because of the length of it, because it's been shortened so much. You've got a really pretty steep cant to the body, and it kind of looks nice, and I kind of like it, but I just don't know for sure if that's really what I wanted. And so my next thought was, well, why not just put the slicks up front and the smaller tires in the back, in which case you don't end up with nearly the slope on the body that you had originally, and that might work. And considering it's a clown car, is there really a major issue with having the slicks up in the front? I mean, it's supposed to be kind of silly anyway. And then when I found these low-profile tires in the stash, I was like, hey, these might work out pretty well, especially considering I saw those hubcaps that could go over it, and I thought if I paint those green, the light green accent color, that'll look really good with the body. Get a little more green going on with the orange, and then with the low profile tires being smaller than the other tires, it just kind of adds to the clownish feeling to the overall scheme of the car. So that's why I ended up finally deciding on just going with these low profile tires for the clown car. And so the other tires will just go into the stash for some other build.
Okay, and that's where we're at. So until next time. Thank you for visiting Toby's Sideshow of Scale Styrene. If you liked what you saw, please consider giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment. Share it with your friends, and please subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up online. Thanks again for visiting, and see you soon.